You and I have had the great opportunity to work together on the Automotive AI Summit. I've been lucky enough to be your media partner through Dealer Marketing Magazine. And today we're going to talk about a lot of different things, but the core focus is DigitalPilot. So perhaps for parts of the audience that maybe don't know your story, can you give us an overview of the foundation? So the different projects and the different businesses and the different communities that you run and the different media that you produce. And then let's segue into DigitalPilot.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you so much for being such an incredible partner with Automotive AI Summit, because it does not happen the way that it happened without you involved. I have joked with a lot of people that without you, they would have had to endure my third grade graphics for everything rather than professionally done graphics. So thank you so much for all of that. And the incredible summit that we ended up pulling off. So for me, I am Dave Foy. Started in the industry in 1987 as a technician for Ford. Was not a great technician. Moved over to being a service advisor. Did that for the next almost 10 years. And then worked my way up through various positions inside dealerships. Leaving the dealership world inside the dealership world about 5 years ago. I joined a tech company that was delivering training into dealerships with an AI component to it. And went and did some training on my own for a while. Worked for another company, and about 7 months ago, went out on my own. So before that, back in 2019, while I was still working in dealerships, I founded the Fixed Ops Mastermind, which has been meeting every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern since 2019. It's since June of 2019. So before COVID, when COVID came about, made it a great place for people to get together because there were no in-person conferences, obviously. So it was a great place for people to get together and talk through something that none of us had ever been through before, and how to make that work in our businesses. So I have since then, there's that weekly show. There is the Fixed Ops Mastermind podcast, which we just this week, actually it airs today, is the first episode with Kyle Morissette as the host. I did exactly 100 episodes of that podcast, and now Kyle is taking over the helm there to run the podcast version of Fixed Ops Mastermind, and with his first guest being Mr. Copley from Horizon. So be a great addition that by the time this airs will have already gone on the air. So and then we have We Are, which is Women Empowering Automotive Retail Excellence. It is a live weekly Zoom meeting, just like the Fixed Ops Mastermind is. It is Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and is hosted by one of 5 incredible women each week, and with their guests or open discussions of whatever the audience wants to talk about. And obviously we have the AI Summit. So, and DigitalPilot is coming up behind all those things. So that's what I have to do with my time every day is handle that stuff.
It sounds like a lot, but I also know you and you're able to juggle. Congratulations on the 100th episode. I did see the announcement going out for Kyle Morissette. I think it's an incredible pairing. So I have very high hopes, and I know you guys are going to do very well. Let's talk a little bit, considering from the perspective that you have so much, and I think the thing that you really live every day is leave the industry better than you found it. I know that it is your ethos, it is your motto. In terms of how you're living your life and building these different initiatives that are all sort of tied together with this golden thread, it's very clear that this is something that is more than just a statement. It's something that you really live a value, right? So in terms of that, and considering everything that you are building and the sense of community, I think that runs through absolutely everything that you do, which makes it so, so special. What prompted you to start thinking about DigitalPilot? What was the moment where you thought, it's time for me to consider this, and how am I going to actually build this out?
Yeah, it's a great question, and something that started back when I was still in the stores, right? The advisors, in my opinion, have the most difficult job inside a dealership. Um, Other than a dealer principal who is obviously holding the financial burden for the success of that business, a service advisor has to deal with literally every touch point in that dealership. The salespeople are after them for things. They have to deal with the finance and insurance end of it, and that office. Their managers, the customers, the technicians, parts. Everybody is at a service advisor, and a service advisor in a typical dealership is handling 15 to 20 plus repair orders with a customer attached to the end of that repair order every single day. Carry forward vehicles not completed in the previous few days. And a service advisor is looking to handle 25, 30 or more customers in a single day. It's a very big ask. And over the years, we've piled more onto advisors to ask them to do. So they don't have to just handle customers. They also have to handle all the other admin tasks. And tying together all the technologies that we've asked them to use to try and communicate with customers. That none of those technologies talk to each other. So way back when I was still inside the stores, I had tools that just using Excel sheets and Google Sheets and things to try and make it easier for advisors. But obviously, AI as it is now didn't exist back then. So there was no avenue to create some sort of an assistant for an advisor. I could only try and create some tools that could help make their day a little bit easier. Once the advent of AI came about, and in the form that it's in now, where we can really use it to start actually make a tool that takes away some of the work. Every tool we've given an advisor has promised to help their day, but it's added steps onto their day. And now we have the ability with AI to take some of those things away from them and get them back to handling customers. So um, the when I started thinking about building DigitalPilot, not having a name to it or AI to understand how it would work, it was probably 10 or 15 years ago as I tried to just help my advisors in the store manage their days better.
That's amazing. And obviously, now with everything that's happening in the industry and globally with technology, here's the opportunity. And somebody with your understanding and the decades worth of knowledge of industry experience as well, and specifically having worked on the retail side in the dealership, understanding what that looks like, I think is really gold when it comes to building our technology, which is trying to help and solve problems that are being faced by people who work in those types of positions and are in that situation on a daily basis. Now, coupled with the fact that you've also worked on the other side, servicing and partnering with dealerships, I think you're in a very unique position, not only to pull this off, but to do it really well. Can you share a little bit about what it would look like and where the immediate pain points would be released, if I can put it that way, by adopting this technology in the dealership?
Yeah. So the immediate update, the immediate update, the immediate effect that would be felt within dealerships is one of a release of status call updates for customers. It is an issue that just about every single store in the country struggles with. Now, the introduction of companies like Toma and Numa are helping because they're answering a bunch of phone calls, but they can't provide a status update to a customer because there are human touch points in there that you need to understand from the technician where they are with that vehicle. The advisor needs to put together the information from the technician on where they are with that vehicle and present that to a customer. The the systems that we're using inside the dealerships, the DMSs, if a technician does not update that, then an advisor, if they look in that system, can't tell whether the car is ready to go, will be ready to go, is even being worked on. They don't know. So a lot of times that advisor needs to leave his desk, go out to and talk to the technician and ask her, are you going to be done this today, or are we waiting for anything, or whatever it is? Now that's done two things. It's disrupted your service desk because your advisor has left, and you've disrupted the flow of a technician, right? So, because that conversation is never that quick, right? It's the difference between a text message and a phone call, right? It doesn't matter how simple it might be to pick up the phone and call you and say, what do you want to have for dinner tonight? The conversation always goes further than that and takes longer than if I send you a text and ask that. Same thing with if an advisor has to go out to the bay, or in the way that we handle it within DigitalPilot, it gives a quick avenue for a technician to update a service advisor, and a service advisor to then update the customer. And so that's an instant time savings for a service advisor, and a little bit more of an intangible time savings for a technician, because they don't get that interruption. There is no pattern switch of going from I'm repairing a car, I've now got to talk to a service advisor, and then I got to go back into repairing a car, right? So that's one of the initial things. The other big one is that right now the DMSs that exist, they're static. There are no insights that are given to leadership, technicians, or advisors on what should I be doing right now? What repair order needs my attention right now? Right? That's all up to them to try and manage that in their day. And again, with 25 to 30 repair orders that they're handling, that's difficult. That's difficult for the most skilled of people to do, right? But it is something that AI is very good at, with pattern recognition, with things that we can teach it to understand, so that it can bring forward, here's what you should be doing next, right? You should be looking at this repair order for any number of reasons, right? And that's the good thing about AI, is it can look at 1,000 different parts of a repair order to understand that they should be looking at this one first, when maybe an advisor is looking at one or two different points. Like maybe they look at whether parts have arrived, and maybe they look at the promise time of the vehicle. Now AI is giving a much broader view of that repair order, and it can look within the rest of the system compared to other repair orders, what's going on with other repair orders that other advisors have. It can bring all that together to surface real insights to help advisors know, what customer should I be taking care of right now.
That's amazing. And also, as part of the Automotive AI Summit, I had the opportunity to interview Dr. John Finn, who, as we both know, is really, really sees the world in a very different way. And through his book and through the interview, I learned a lot about accessing your higher brain state. And so what I'm so happy to hear is that this technology is, like you said in the very beginning, it's not an additional layer that's just going to lay on top of the existing tech stack, which is already very heavy, undefined, and doesn't speak to each other. So the fact that this is really emulating what Dr. John has basically made his mission out there for everyone to understand about AI is that when you talk about true AI and human interaction, it is basically what you're talking about now. It's not replacing the human being, but it's enabling the human being to access a different part of their brain state. In this case, being proactive and really using the time proactively, in the sense that calling who you are prompted to call based on data, and really streamlining that process. So not having, if I'm understanding you correctly, having services advisors who are already overwhelmed with so much information and so much pressure, bogged down with additional decisions to need to make. And I can only imagine then having to disrupt the service bay by getting up, going there. And you mentioned it always takes longer than a message. I'm giggling while you say that, because I think of our messages and then I think of our meetings.
Yeah.
I fully agree with you. We always have so much more to say. So it makes total sense. In terms of the way that you are actively managing this rollout, can you share a little bit about who the ideal customer would be for DigitalPilot at this point in time?
Yeah. So right now, the ideal customer is going to be a forward-thinking dealership or dealership group, that understands that we are a new company, a new technology, right? That AI obviously not a new technology, but the way that we're using it is very new, and that means there are some hurdles to get over. There will be some bumps in the road, some potholes that we hit, and having partners that are there to help us build this, to put into effect the actual tools that they need, right? Like I feel with me and other people that I have helping me, that I have a pretty good handle on what an advisor needs to navigate their day. I spent a lot of time being an advisor. I spent a lot of time leading advisors, and then a lot of time training around the country at different stores, different everything's different parts of the country. We're all within the stores, but everybody's a little bit different, right? And it gave me a great point of view of what it's like when you're there inside the store as a person working there, and what it's like to come from outside the store, and what that looks like to a different set of eyes. And so ideally, it's somebody who is not afraid of new technology, is not afraid of um, being there to help us get through those roadblocks and potholes that will inevitably come up, right? But in the end, it's people who are going to see the vision of what the future is, with dealerships that are truly AI native dealerships. It's coming. It's going to be here very, very quickly. And the ones that get started on it, obviously there's some dealerships out there who are pretty tech forward. The ones who really embrace the new changes, because it's it's not just about plugging AI into your current processes. It's about rethinking the whole roadmap. It's about going back to first person principles and thinking, if I made a dealership today, what would it look like? And it would look very different than the current model that we have. And so it takes those kind of people to embrace the technology and help us push this across the finish line.